So, beginning in 2020, the IRS released a new Form W-4, and the intention was to reduce refunds. So, the purpose of the form, if you follow the worksheet, is to withhold the correct amount of tax, meaning that you're not paying extra throughout the year. Now, some people don't like that. Some people prefer the refund, but it's good to know that so that you can adjust how you complete the form if you do want a refund. So starting at the top, we have the same options, single or married filed separately, married filed jointly, or head of household. I think where people get confused sometimes when selecting that option is, even if you're married, you can choose single. Now, I wouldn't suggest choosing married if you are single, but the IRS is not going to look at this form when you file your income taxes. They're going to look at your overall financial picture. So all of your taxable wages minus your deductions. And then they're going to say, okay, based on that, you owe X amount of tax. Then they're going to look at how much tax you actually withheld and remitted throughout the year. And then if you remitted less than you owe, you pay the difference. Or if you remitted more than you owe, you get a refund. So it's really all just math. Now, if you look over here, I have publication 15T pulled up, and right now we're looking at the 2023 wage bracket method. And so if you look here, you have income. So if your income is between this first number and this number, then you're going to use that corresponding row. And then here at the top, we have married filed jointly, but there's two columns. One is for standard, and one is if you check that box for extra for two jobs. Then you have head of household, same two rows, and single or married filed separately. So if you look here, if you're doing single or married filed separately, even if you only make $279 in a biweekly pay period, you'd have $1 withheld if you had two jobs. And you can kind of see the graph goes like this as far as where it's actually going to pick up tax. So if you're doing married filed jointly with only one job, you have to make at least $1,065 in a biweekly pay period just for $1 to be withheld. So if you're looking at your check thinking, why is there no tax withheld? This can't be right. It might be depending on your wage and how you have completed your W-4. Now, on the other hand, if you're doing single or married filed separately, the first dollar comes in here in this row with only making $540. So you have to make almost double if you're filing married just for tax to begin to be withheld. So again, the box that you're checking on this form is not, that information doesn't go to the IRS, but it does affect the calculations. And then the other thing I want to point out, a lot of people will end up having amounts here, dependents. And for each of those dependents, what it's going to do is it's going to divide that amount that's there by the number of pay periods and then reduce your tax by that much each pay period. So if you do 2,000 and you have 26 pay periods, you would divide 2,000 by 26, and then it's going to calculate the tax and reduce it. So keep in mind, if you have children and you're married, say you have two children, you and your spouse don't want to both put 2 here, because you're doubling your overall credit for the year. Conversely, if you're worried about getting a refund, maybe you have 2 children, but you only put 1 on here and don't take the other $2,000 credit. So again, this form, yes, it's asking you some specific questions, but you can complete it differently if you want more tax withheld. So if you want more tax withheld, if you're filing married, change it to single. Or if you have dependent credits here, try reducing those dependent credits, and those can increase or will increase the tax that's being withheld. The other option too is you have this box here for extra withholding per check. So if you want to just toss an amount in there, even if it's just a little bit, that'll be withheld each check. And so that can also help to increase your withholding without necessarily adjusting these other settings.